Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, and welcome back to the channel. So, Mehdi Hassan is a journalist and political commentator, and he runs a media channel called Zeteo. So, they've put out a video. This animated film lets Muslim kids see themselves as heroes. Now, he's probably going to break down pretty well what life can be like for Muslim children within the space of childhood entertainment. There isn't really a large amount of representation in the most popular shows on the biggest platforms and channels. So let's get into this reaction.
A new animated children's film is making history as the first Muslim animated feature to get a nationwide theatrical release in the United States. The film, Time Hoppers, The Silk Road, follows 4 students of the fictional Akli Academy who travel back in time on a mission to protect popular historical scientists from an evil time-bending alchemist. The film highlights the contributions of Muslim cultural and scientific figures during the golden age of Islam, including mathematician Al-Khwarizmi, the father of modern optics Ibn al-Haytham, and astronomer Maryam al-Astrolabi.
This virtual reality game is crazy! You can even eat! This is reality, buddy! We zoom through a wormhole!
Oh no! My Go Watch! It's gone!
What does this do?
That's Al-Khwarizmi! You know, the father of mathematics! It's because of him we have algorithms.
I will not stop until your legacy, everyone's legacy, lies in ruins.
Joining me now are 2 people who worked closely on the film,
Well, I mean, there's a little trailer there for the movie. I mean, it looks good, and inshallah, when I have children one day, if I have children one day, I would hope to be able to show them TV shows, movies, cartoons that depict people that look like them in these scenarios where they are the hero, where they're having fun, where they're doing the right thing with a good moral story behind it, a good moral message. I'd love to be able to show them that. I mean, like I say, there's not really a representation for Muslim children in popular cartoons and TV shows that are made for children out there, whether it be on any of the streaming platforms, any of the channels in the UK or America. So I think it's really good that this is being made and getting a real primetime showcase in the States and showing Muslim children that they can be the hero too, and that being Muslim is not a bad thing.
Producer and Milo Production CEO Michael Milo, as well as co-writer and director Fleur-de-Lisa Deyrit. They joined me from Calgary, Canada. Thank you both for joining me on the show. Congratulations on the movie.
Congratulations.
It has been a real long journey, so it's we're really happy that we're kind of at
Michael Milo. Anyone with the name Michael is a legend.
the end of the journey at this point. Or
Don't quote me on that.
But it's all just kicking off in terms of
That's not a quote from me.
viewer reaction. Fleur-de-Lisa, for viewers who are hearing about this film for the first time, what would you like them to know about Time Hoppers?
Well, that it's for them, kids. That this is for kids, and and that we want them to know that they're seeing themselves as superheroes and their culture and history being celebrated on the big screen is really important. And that, especially today where Islamophobia is still very present.
Yes.
And I think, kids, can sense that, and that, they can see that, and that they, it's something that they also believe that this is how the world sees them, right? Yeah. And so what we're trying to do is to really counter that narrative.
Michael, it's the first Muslim animated feature film to get a nationwide US release. That is a pretty big deal in the current moment, as Fleur-de-Lisa says, in a moment where Islamophobia is on the rise again here in the US. How does it feel?
That's a massive thing, by the way. That's massive. Like, Mehdi has just said, with the rise of Islamophobia in the US, and even not just in the US, in Europe, in the UK, in Australia, with the rise of Islamophobia, this is such an important thing, such a massive thing that these two individuals, this brother and sisters movie, has been given this spotlight.
To be part of such a milestone.
Well, it's really incredible, and we have an amazing team that is working on this. Uh, you know, both on the creative side, we've had an amazing team, as well as on the back end office part of it, and getting the movie out widely is really kind of a dream come true for us. And as Fleur-de-Lisa mentioned, it's so important that children have a better understanding of history, and especially Muslim children, that they feel themselves as a part of the wider culture, and that they, see themselves as heroes. They don't often see it. There's a lot of underrepresentation.
And Michael, you said back in November, you told Variety magazine, quote, "This film is the realization of a decade-long dream." What was that dream, Michael?
Well, we started about 10 years ago with a streaming service called Muslim Kids TV, where we saw that there was a real need for content for children that aligns with Muslim values. So we've been working very hard to build that, and that included developing a lot of original production ourselves. And so as we went through that journey, we were able to kind of build more and more capacity, capabilities, and attract funding from the Canadian production incentives that exist to tell this story about, the history and culture of, it's a really significant part of world history that's often overlooked, or not very many people understand that part of history.
Liking.
He's made a very good point there. Again, I go back to the lack of representation, but you don't see a lot of talk about the Islamic influence on things like mathematics, art, modern culture in Europe in particular, and those Europeans then taking it over to America. You don't hear about that. So it is important that these stories get told. Important parts of history. So much of history is incredibly important. There's so many, I suppose they use the word milestone moment to describe this movie. There's so many moments in history that are milestone moments between empires, between ruling parties, between ages of progression that don't get told. And it's important that they are.
This video? Then don't just watch, hit like, share, and subscribe. And tap the bell so you never miss a video or live show. But if you want early access to exclusive content, then you have to head to Zeteo.com and subscribe now. You'll be supporting fearless, independent journalism. Fleur-de-Lisa, where did the original idea for Time Hoppers come from? Was the use of time travel, which is always a fun storytelling device in movies, I grew up watching Back to the Future, was time travel specifically picked in order to bring...
That's a cult classic, by the way. One of my best friends is a die-hard Back to the Future fan. Shout out to him.
Bring these Muslim inventors and scientists from the past that have been long forgotten, especially in the West, to bring them to life?
Yes, I mean, I think it's a fascinating way of telling the story. And really, for us in the movie, we really wanted to, convey and honor the, the deep respect for education. And so, there's tremendous legacy of learning, research, and academic excellence that often, goes untold, such as the founding of, the first university by a Muslim woman, Fatima al-Fihri.
Yes.
Right? So these contributions by Arabs and Muslims are real.
How many of you brothers and sisters even knew that? How many? I didn't know that. Learning things even just from this interview.
Rarely highlighted, yet they shape the world that we live in today. And so, we really wanted to also honor the continuous, legacy that a lot of our communities are doing in building, in supporting, as well as growing these different educational institutions. So for us, we wanted them to see the future and the past, that they're really much connected.
Michael, animated films can take a long time to produce. They usually require bigger budgets. You made this film on quite a small budget. What were some of the biggest challenges in getting this film finished, made, produced at high quality, which it clearly is?
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, like the funding does take a lot, and for us, it really was a combination of benefiting from these Canadian production incentives, and then going to the community to ask for support, right, for the production, and it's something quite new within Muslim societies in general, the notion of children's animated entertainment. So that was a big part of it. And of course, we also wanted to work with, the community and really uplift the Muslim community, because there's now so many creatives in the space, and some of them are going into the mainstream industry and having wonderful success, but not everyone is. So we wanted to give opportunity for that as well, and we had wonderful support at the beginning through, for example, Open Screenplay. It's kind of a community of writers that you can shop your content to, and writers come out forth and present their work to you. We had the support of Impact Hollywood at the very beginning of the process, where we've consulted with them on how to basically bring the content to the market. So really, we were very happy that it was really probably about 90% of the work on the movie was done with specifically the Muslim community.
Yes.
And yeah, so
Just letting them both say their piece there. I was really interested in what they had to say, and I'm really glad a point they made on this science behind time travel, etc. But science and history are two of the most important subjects for any child to learn about. The fact that this movie encompasses both of those is martial art fantastic. The motivation behind it that these two guys have is incredible, and the brother talking about there the limitations when it comes to funding for this sort of thing as well really exposes the way the film industry is.
We're big
important
fans
for
of
us.
Impact Hollywood here. We just collaborated on 2 panels with them at the Sundance Festival just very recently. Fleur-de-Lys, in the press kit for the film, you say, quote, "Imagine growing up without seeing yourself represented in media, or worse, seeing your culture misrepresented." Prior to making this movie, directing this animated film, how hard did you find it to push back against that lack of representation or that misrepresentation
I'm
by
really
Islamophobes
interested to
in the
hear a
media?
response to this.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I think I came in at a very opportunity, a good time where, I've been, I guess, applying to different programs that really celebrates a lot of these BIPOC artists and, women, especially in the media. And so I took advantage of that. And, that was really where I saw the opportunity that, look, this is the time now where we have to start telling our stories the way we want to be, the way we want it to be told. And so, I just really took the opportunity when the doors opened slightly. I jumped in there immediately. So it was.
And Fleur-de-Lys, what kind of impact do you hope this film has on Muslim kids specifically, especially audiences who may not know any of this history and are exposed to it for the first time in the form of animation, not in the form of a history book?
Well, I hope that, children will see themselves as superheroes finally, and, in the stories. I think, it's so important for them to be part of that world, right? Of that storytelling world, and that their history matters, their culture matters, their value matters, and other people can learn from them as well, right? So for me, I hope that it's something that they can truly celebrate and really enjoy.
Michael, last question.
Before they move on to the last question there, I think, first of all, fantastic question from Mehdi Hassan, but the sister's answer was fantastic as well. Think about how Muslims have been represented in Western media, entertainment media, in the last 20 and 30 years, in TV shows and movies, always depicted as the bad guys, the enemy. So children throughout that time have grown up being told that they're the enemy if they're exposed to these TV shows and movies, and naturally they're going to be. So to have that representation, to be told that they are heroes, the idea behind this is beautiful. To tell Muslim children, you saw a hijabi in the trailer, that they are heroes, that they are beautiful, that they're not evil, that they're not bad. What an incredibly important and powerful message that is. And whilst we look at this as an animated movie for children, a lot of us brothers and sisters, adults, can watch this and see that as well, and see the power behind it. It's martial art beautiful.
Question. Do you have plans for a sequel or to expand Time Hoppers into another format?
Yes.
Yes. Well,
I want to see 7 movies like the Fast and Furious franchise.
actually, a lot of that work is
Minimum.
already completed. So we have an accompanying mobile game that has the same characters from the movie, but also an extended group of other scientists. So it's a fun kind of RPG role-playing game where they have to save all these scientists. And then we also have a TV series coming out that's in its final kind of period of production and post-production. So that will also be coming out. We do love the movie format, though. Like it's something wonderful.
It is.
And magical about people going to see a movie and seeing it larger than life. So
100%.
there's a great cliffhanger ending at the end of it.
Oof.
So yes.
Well, as
Look at
someone
me
who loves
smiling
movies,
like an
and
idiot.
as someone who didn't get to watch movies like this when I was a Muslim kid in the 80s, I think the kids of today are very lucky. Thank you for your contributions. Michael Milo, Flor-de-Lisa Dayrit. The film is called Time Hoppers, The Silk Road. It's out in theaters across the US at the end of this week.
There we go, brothers and sisters. Martial art, good video. Good clip from Zeteo there. Like I said, how Muslims are depicted in Western media is a problem. And it's very important that we, as the brothers and sisters, the adults of this generation, to change the narrative, to take back our religion and not allow it to be twisted into this miserable, hateful thing that it's depicted as, and to let our children grow up in a world where they are just as much the hero as any kid from any other culture. It's very, very important. And I think the idea behind this, the message behind it, is martial art beautiful. It's so important. Brothers and sisters that have children, let me know in the comments how you feel about the representation primarily of Muslim children in other forms of cartoons, TV shows, movies that are made for children, and whether you feel that there needs to be more of it. And if so, the important thing to do is to go and support creators like this when they do create it. Again, brothers and sisters, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I think it's very important. Let's see what you guys think. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you again next time. Peace.